The Hurricanes have plenty of grit on the team already, but at the trade deadline on January 9th, they added a few more key pieces to the team. The Hurricanes added 19-year-old left wing Alec Bear from the Vancouver Giants, who only had 3 goals before coming to Lethbridge. Now he's sitting at 8 goals after scoring 5 in 4 games, 4 of which came in 2 games against the Edmonton Oil Kings. He says adjusting to his new team has felt fairly seamless.
Bella Reeves' older brother I played with when I was 16, so they're pretty much the same person, so we've been pretty good buddies. And then room with Zabrowski, so we're getting pretty close as well.
The Canes also added a couple forwards from the Kootenay Ice in 20-year-olds Matt Alfaro and Zach Zabrowski. The two have been playing together since they broke into the WHL, and even though Alfaro hasn't played a game with the Canes due to a leg injury, head coach Brent Kissio is excited to see what they can do together.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's some added chemistry there for sure. I don't know if we'll play them together or not, but if we do, whether it's power play or on a line together, there should be some instant chemistry because they play together. And I think as well, it's kind of easier for them coming to a team with each other. At least it's one guy they know already, and then it's easier to gel into the mix.
Even without Alfaro, Zabrowski has managed to put up some points with the Canes as well. Right now, he has 2 goals and 5 assists in the week and a half he's been with the team, and he's been able to play some big minutes for his new squad.
Well, I play penalty kill now in Lethbridge. I didn't in Kootenay, so that's a little bit different.
The Hurricanes currently sit second in their division, only behind the Medicine Hat Tigers, who have a 6-point lead on them. Those two teams won't meet again until February 11th. For E! News, I'm Nick Nielsen. The team that was unstoppable all year long has brought home the gold from Edmonton. The Kodiaks never tasted defeat, besting every opponent they faced. Coach Brad Cairn says he couldn't be more proud of his team.
Then there's nothing like it. To be called national champions, there's nothing like it. To be, just wonderful for them.
The Kodiaks had to win 3 straight games at the CCAA tournament to get the gold, defeating the Douglas Royals, the Nomads de Montmorency, and then Dawson Blues in the final. While they rolled over both the Blues and Royals by at least 24 points, their toughest match came in the second round against the Nomads. The Kodiaks eked out a nerve-wracking decision, hanging on for a narrow 74-70 victory. 66 of those points came from the trio of Emma Lowry, Sunder West, and Logan Monks. Lowry and Monks were both named to the tournament's first All-Star team, while West earned MVP honors, leading the tournament in scoring. Though West's performance was stellar, she's all about the team.
This is really special to me because I love these girls.
The women never batted an eye during any of their competition all year, and they'll be hanging a banner in the rafters behind me later on next week. Until then, according to Amy Arbin and Emma Lowry, they'll be celebrating the memories they've shared all year long.
Today we went go-kart racing and bowling. That was fun. A memory, yeah.
But our favorite one is definitely being national champions.
Oh, national champions.
After the game, the Kodiaks all took turns cutting off pieces of the net, just like they did after ACACs. While it's a staple tradition in college basketball, it's also a major part of the team's fun, relaxed atmosphere. And that's something assistant coach Deanna Dotz loves about her team and the memories they share from this year.
I mean, we got to go to Disneyland this year. They were so excited about that. We did what we wanted in winning a provincial championship. We went undefeated in league again. They're a team that they create music videos. They do all these fun things that it's hard to pick just one, but if I had to pick one, this would be it. Yeah. To create all the memories we're creating right now. This is Emily Cherwiniuk earlier this year as she practiced with her team, a team who is now mourning her loss. Cherwiniuk was killed 2 weeks ago in a head-on car accident east of Grantham, Alberta. She was the backup setter for the Kodiaks in her first year with the team, and she was often on the court with her big sister Sienna. Sienna says the loss of her sister has been incredibly hard for both her and her family.
We received lots of feedback from the volleyball community and her high school and everything, and it seems like everyone that she met, even if it was very briefly, she had a huge impact on them.
While a college athlete, Cherwiniuk was also a talented artist. She was following her passion as part of the interior design and technology program.
One of her instructors, Nama Tuckett, saw Emily at work every day, and she says it's been hard not having her around in class.
In a short amount of time, we come together and we become a very close unit group. And so it's really shaken everyone up. And right now we're just trying to get through the semester.
Cherwiniuk, or Boo Boo to her teammates, was described as having one of the biggest smiles in Alberta with an infectious personality that brought a light to the room the moment she walked in. Everyone whose lives she's been a part of speak highly of her.
What I see from this is we got her for 18 years, and like that is more than that's enough, right? Like we can't think of anything that could be the future. We have to just think about all the past and all the memories and everything beautiful that she did.
Emily was probably the most positive person I've ever met. She always came into the classroom smiling. She was always happy. She was a storyteller, so usually her classmates would gather around her and just listen to her stories that she had to tell.
That just like explains her so well, just 100% into everything that she did, and she loved everything that she did with her whole heart.
The loss of Emily Cherwiniuk is not only affecting her friends and family, but also everyone's lives she touched here at the college, including her fellow classmates in the interior design program and the Kodiak athletes she's worked all year long with. She'll be honored later on at the Cody Awards right here in the Val Mattioti Gymnasium, where she spent all year training with her fellow Kodiaks. For E! News, I'm Nick Nielsen. Walk a Mile in Her Shoes is an international event to help raise awareness on one of the most serious issues in the world. The movement was started in 2001, and ever since it's taken off. This is the third semi-annual walk Lloydminster has had, and board chair of the Lloydminster Sexual Assault Information Center, Shane Schneider, says having the event every 2 years has a different effect than most would expect.
Well, the option was there to do it every year, but we figured to have the most impact with the community that it's best as a semi-annual event. So I know it takes 2 years to come around, but the community comes out in droves every 2 years.
Over 80 people participated in the walk, including both men and women of all ages, one of which is Jason Whiting. He's participated in all 3 walks since 2013 and is happy to do it again.
For one, it definitely raises awareness. No question, when you see a bunch of guys walking down the street with red high heels, people are going to question and wonder what's going on.
The walk helps educate on serious issues of sexual violence through an event everyone can take part in. Kiera Newstead with the center says that this will hopefully make women more comfortable coming to them.
Sexual assault is a really underreported crime, so people don't really like to talk about it. Sometimes people are embarrassed about their stories, or they're embarrassed to even talk about it. So when we get that response from people that are willing to help participate in sponsoring us and getting the word out to the community, it's really awesome, not only for us at the center, but for those survivors, so that they know that what happened to them isn't okay.
Sexual assault and sexual violence is still a very taboo subject among most circles. So to have a fun event like this, to bring guys and gals and children and grandmas and grandpas out to have a fun little time wearing some red high heels down Main Street in Lloydminster, it's a really cool way to keep that conversation going about sexual assault.
According to sexualassault.ca, only 6 out of every 100 sexually violent crimes are reported to authorities, and that's what makes events like this so important. If you've ever had somebody in your life who's been affected by sexual violence, you'd know there's no cure for the scars left behind from such acts, and that means prevention is our only option, meaning we have to keep the conversation going. Nick Nielsen, New Cap News. This is Curtis Anderson. In June of 2002, Anderson was riding bulls at the Ponoka Stampede, where he was bucked off and rammed twice in the head. After being in a drug-induced coma for 3 months, he's been gaining his abilities back and started the Courage Canada Trail Ride to raise awareness for severe brain injury.
Basically starting from scratch. I was a week short of a year in therapy.
Since its start 13 years ago, the Courage Canada Trail Ride has raised over $167,000, and it's all gone to a few different places, including the Canadian Pro Sports Medicine Team, the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and to brain injury survivors and their families. Longtime rider and friend of Anderson, Gwen Jacobson, says this ride supports a cause that is just too important to miss out on.
Because I believe in it. I really do. I think it's helped, not only Curtis, but it's helped a lot of individuals that's had troubles through over the years.
Anderson has always been a cowboy at heart, taking a lot of inspiration from people like Johnny Cash and Hank Williams. As a result, he's taken to writing cowboy poetry and music and has relearned how to play guitar. As well, he's been taking the reins as a motivational speaker and a safety advisor. Anderson says the most important thing is to keep raising awareness about brain trauma.
You can't put a number on how much awareness that has been raised over the years, and that's the bottom line. Johnny Cash said it best, "I have mountains to climb and always will. The mountains I have climbed in my recovery have taught me that what you put in is what you get out."
Nick Nielsen, Newcap News. A new facet to the Devon Sagan Memorial has been added this year, as his father Eugene is driving across Canada right now to the eastern coast of Prince Edward Island to raise money for local families with sick children. The idea for the ride was inspired by a dream vacation his son had before he passed, and now Eugene is taking him with him.
I just got Devon here with me, and we're going to make her to the island and back.
To raise money, the Sagans sold tickets with 15-minute time slots of when they think Eugene will return, and the person with the correct time slot wins 50% of the proceeds raised. Eugene is trying to make it back in 5 days, but his wife Michelle has her doubts.
His determination, absolutely. I think I have a few questions about his bike just because I've ridden with him enough times.
Eugene is making the ride alone, but did allow some of his friends to join him on the first leg of his journey to Saskatoon. One of those riders is Larry Filkowski, who says he couldn't miss this opportunity to join his friend on the start of his journey.
He's always been, I think, kind of one of the hidden pillars of this community, especially since he lost his son to cancer. Now he's all about kids that are in very serious trouble, and that's kind of what I'm all about too.
The Sagans presented a check to a family before the bikes took off, and now Eugene is well on his way across the country. If you'd like to keep up with where he is, he'll be posting on the Devon Sagan Memorial Facebook page along the way. Now it's anyone's guess when Eugene will return to Lloydminster, but when he does, he will be coming into a community with loving and open arms. What is known is that this will be a ride that Eugene will always remember in memory of a man this community will never forget. Nick Nielsen, Newcap News.
This is a Newcap News Update.
Good morning, I'm Nick Nielsen with a look at your local news. Bonnie and Clyde, two stray cats from St. Walburg, are featured in this week's Peck Project. They join Saul, a black and white cat who is also up for adoption. Here is John from the SPCA. Alberta's Child and Youth Advocate would be required to investigate the deaths of any children in government care under new legislation introduced yesterday in the legislature. Under Bill 18, that mandate would cover the death of anyone under age 20 who was either in government care or had left the system in the past 2 years. The bill includes recommendations from an all-party committee following the death of a girl named Serenity, who had been in government care when she died in 2014, showing signs of severe abuse. Children's Services Minister Danielle Larrivee says the bill will help increase both the accountability and transparency of the child welfare system. The Lloydminster Vandals are back for their 14th year of AFL play, opening their 2017 season at home against the Parkland Predators on a sunny Sunday afternoon. As Lance Phillips explains, a Sunday afternoon Parkland would like to forget.
Lloydminster.
That's all for now. We'll have more local news for you in the next hour.
This is a Newcap News Update.
Good morning, I'm Nick Nielsen with your local news update. The Lloydminster SPCA is currently in the middle of their second annual Microchip Your Cat Week. In the 3 veterinary clinics in town, you can have a microchip put into your cat for a donation of your choice. The microchips help identify the owners of the lost cat and increase the chances of it being returned to its rightful owners. John Punchin with the SPCA says too many cats come into the shelter without the chips.
There are quite a few that don't have microchips. I mean, a lot of the cats that come in are not spayed or neutered. Those even that are spayed and neutered oftentimes don't have any form of identification. So this is a really great way for two things. I mean, ideally, it'd be great if people spayed and neutered their cats as well. But at the very least, if we do get the microchips, then there is some form of identification.
From last year alone, 537 cats were brought into the SPCA, only 7% of which were returned to their families. In sports, a tough loss in Vermilion nearly 2 weeks ago has left a sour taste in the collective mouths of the Lloydminster Extreme Lacrosse Club. On the weekend, the Extreme hosted the remedy for all that ails, the Edmonton Warriors. Lance Phillips with more.
New Cap Sports, Lloydminster.
The Canadian Football League Commissioner says a former Saskatchewan Rough Rider will not be allowed to play in the league again, even though he was found not guilty of assault causing bodily harm. The Riders released 24-year-old Justin Cox when he was charged following an alleged domestic dispute in April. The CFL said it at the time that Cox would no longer be allowed to play in the league. A provincial court judge in Regina found Cox not guilty yesterday, stating there wasn't evidence to support the charge. And Cox said after the trial that he hoped to resume his career with the Riders. That's all the time we have for news. Join us later for more local stories.
This is a New Cap News Update.
Good morning, I'm Nick Nielsen with a look at your local news. Husky Energy presented its 5-year growth plan to investors in Toronto today. The plan highlights many developments for its complex here in Lloydminster. The energy company's 5-year plan includes a steady growth in production and operations with an expected free cash flow. Since 2015, Husky has seen a 55% increase in its bitumen production in the region. The company is expected to move forward with at least 14 potential additional Lloyd thermal developments, with construction on 3 previously sanctioned thermals expected this fall in the Spruce Lake area.
Our Lloydminster assets and our growing Lloyd thermal production plays a key role in that. We identified that construction is progressing at the moment on 4 new thermals in the Lloydminster region, and that's the Rush Lake 2 project, which is well on the way.
Engineering is currently progressing on a proposal of doubling the asphalt capacity by building a new refinery next to the current upgrader here in Lloydminster.
So we currently produce about 30,000 barrels a day there, and we're looking to double that to 60,000 barrels a day. We haven't reached a final investment decision yet on that project, but engineering's moving forward. The economics on it continue to look promising, and we are seeing an increase in infrastructure spending. So that project does look positive right now.
If construction does move forward, the cost of the asphalt project is estimated at $700 to $900 million and hopes to create a significant amount of new jobs here in the border city.
This is a New Cap News Update.
Good morning, I'm Nick Nielsen with a look at your local news. Let's face it, we live in a technology-driven world, and if you don't keep up, you could get left behind. In this week's Beyond the Classroom, Nicole Stilger shows us how the Lloydminster Public School Division is reaching some of their technology outcomes by introducing students to the basics of coding.
This is an Ozobot, about the size of a toonie. Nicole Stilger, New Cap News.
It's that time of year again where the pounding of hooves and the sound of drivers yelling will be all over the Midwest region when the CPCA season kicks off Friday in the Battlefords, and one of those drivers may have an edge over his competition. BJ Carey, like every driver, has been busy preparing his horses for the 2017 season and took time to discuss one of the challenges he's faced thus far.
It's been pretty good besides the weather. Weather's uncontrollable though, so with the Equicizer, it helps for sure, but you just don't get the air in them with the Equicizer that you do with on the truck or driving them.
The Equicizer is a safe, free-run horse exerciser capable of holding up to 8 horses at a time, and it provides one distinct advantage over truck training. Not to mention, Carey and Jamie Labacane are some of the only drivers having access to one.
we probably got about 45 days on them, whereas guys, it was snowing there through April and they couldn't train at all, and we could go with that equicizer, being that the roof's on it and you can just go. Truck training, you'd need 4-wheel drive and probably a 4-inch lift with the foot of snow we got in end of April. So yeah, it hasn't really slowed us down.
Now all that remains is to get his outfits out on the track, something Kerry's been waiting for since the end of the 2016 season.
I'm excited. I'm excited to get going. They're fast right now because you're not running against anybody. So we're 5 days away, 6 days away, and we'll see if we're quick enough or not.
In other news, the Saskatoon Public Library has issued layoff notices to 20 full-time staff despite the provincial government's decision to reverse cuts to library funding. A library spokesperson says staff were notified on Monday about the cuts to frontline staff, which come in addition to 2 other layoffs earlier this month. The spokesperson says the staff cuts are tied to the library's city-supported budget. The provincial government cut funding to the Saskatoon and Regina public libraries as well as nearly all regional libraries as part of deficit-cutting efforts in its spring budget, but then restored funding to 2016-17 levels amid an outcry about a month later. That's all for now. We'll have more local news for you in the next hour. And you can always catch more Newcap news in the afternoon and evening.
This is a Newcap News Update.
Good morning, I'm Nick Nielsen with your local news update. Buying a cup of coffee at Tim Hortons is doing more than give you a caffeine boost. It's also helping send a child to camp. Brittany Matika explains.
Sports.
The Alberta government says a rapid response is critical as it tries to deal with a rise in opioid addictions. The province said it will spend an additional $30 million on the crisis while striking a panel that will include representatives from medical, police, community, and Indigenous groups. The new money means a total of $44 million is being allocated by the province this year to deal with the opioid crisis. Alberta has expanded the use of drugs such as naloxone to help save the lives of overdose victims and is also considering more coverage for drugs used in opioid replacement therapy. That's all the time we have for news. We'll see you in the next hour.
That's Phillips, Newcap Sports.
Lions and lemurs, oh my. The Border City Petting Zoo is now open for the summer season, and there's an animal for everyone. Michaela Henschel takes you on a tour and shows you the newest little additions.
From months, Michaela Henschel, Newcap News.
The Calgary Zoo says 15 burrowing owls that it cared for over the winter have been released back into the wild as part of a project to help bolster the population of the endangered species in Alberta. Zoo officials say 15 young owls, 8 females and 7 males, were gathered in the spring of 2016. The young, who were selected because they had the least chance of survival, were outfitted with satellite transmitters before being introduced to new burrow sites this spring. The 7 pairs and single female owl have since settled into their burrows, and officials say all 7 pairs have laid eggs. That's all the time we have for local news. Thanks for joining us, and have a great day.
Thank you, Kiera. What a great piece done by all the MPA students this semester. All right, now what can we say going into the second half about the defensive pressure here with Lethbridge.
Well, they really seemed to step things up in the second half of the second quarter there, and they just seemed to take everything away that they could.
As you can see here now, Ekabazi driving right to the hole. Nice little touch and finish deep in the paint with a lot of traffic.
Yeah, and you couldn't get any better of a roll than that for that one to fall.
All right, we're heading right back into the action here as both teams are on the floor. We'll take you to that right now. So 43-29 is the score that we have right now starting the second half. What do you think the keys are for St. Mary's to chip away at this lead?
Well, they got to be it's hard to say that they can be much crisper with their passes, but they have to get their passing game going a little better. They have to find a way to get some space away from the man-to-man tight coverage pressure from the Kodiaks, and they have to find an answer to Sunder West right now. She's absolutely on fire from the three-point line. They have to get in her face and stop her from shooting.
Now Logan Monks from the baseline again, but a nice little offensive rebound. And that was Amy Arvin with a nice two deep down inside.
Quick update from Medicine Hat. The Kodiaks are tied 16-16 with 1 minute left in the first quarter.
All right, now here comes the lead for the women. She'll get the offense set up with Sunder West. She shook off a defender for a three, but that one won't go down. Now Monks is in there, trying to fight for the offensive rebound, but a jump ball gives it back to the Lightning. Lots of excitement here in Lethbridge, especially at the college, having two teams in the ACAC finals for basketball.
Yeah, and both teams have had absolutely stellar seasons, both ranked nationally. The women's team undefeated at 21-0 coming into this tournament, ranked number 2, only behind the Humber Hawks.
Now Baptiste with a nice little fake pass there and puts down the jumper from the corner of the key. 45-31 here early in the second half. Arvin now driving baseline, trying to get it out to Monks, but is slightly deflected, and Monks can't get it to go. Here's Gibb now, trying to find an opening, but she'll have to retreat out. Now to the baseline for Ritchie. That one will just bounce out. The Kodiaks will collect, and here comes Lee and the Kodiaks. Now a nice little fake there by Arvin, but nothing came to it. Now West tries to find an opening late in the shot clock. She'll find Lee for a three. That one won't get the bounce. Arvin collected the rebound, but it just slipped out of her fingers as she dove onto the floor, and the Lightning will try again to cut into this lead and gain back some momentum.
Yeah, they really need to get something going here now. Down 14 with just under 8 to play in this third quarter, and leads like this, they're either going to grow or they have to get back into this right now.
And that certainly won't help, as that pass just went off the hands and out of bounds. So here come the Kodiaks. They're trying to build this lead and try and seal this game off quickly and be the ACAC champions. Still lots of time left to go here as Arvin puts a shot right at the corner of the key. That gets a home crowd behind them. Now Romero driving in. Now a nice little steal there. Now here comes West with a layup, and that one will go down. And now a timeout here from the Lightning as things are starting to get carried away a little bit. As right now, the Kodiaks really putting on the pressure here early in the third quarter. Why do you think the game plan hasn't really gone so well for the Lightning here coming into the second half?
Well, it's tough to say. There's a whole array of reasons really that could be. It could be everything from just a mental thing all the way to just not being prepared. Like the Trojans just can't seem to get anything going.
Yeah, just like right here, that nice little shot there from Arvin right at the corner of the key. She's been a great force all year, defensively, offensively, but Coach Brad Karen, he's been saying that he wants her to shoot more, and if she keeps putting up shots like that, he might have something in mind.
Yeah, and she hasn't shot a whole lot so far in this game. Only 3 shots on the night. 2 of them have went in.
All right, now we're just almost had another shot of that steal from Amanda Lee. What a great job, her just getting in there and picking the pocket.
Yeah, she really just kind of seemed to come out of nowhere there and got up court, and just a great play from Lee.
Quick hands she's had all year, as we are back into action here now as Romero is driving in, and Baptiste will finish it off there for the Lightning. Now pressure there by Romero. A lot of defensive pressure. Hopefully the Lightning can get a steal and get back into this game, chip away at that Kodiak lead.
Yeah, you could see that becoming a factor here. Maybe the Lightning start playing a little more tight man-to-man defense like the Kodiaks have been doing all game, and maybe get some of that pressure put back on the Kodiaks.
Now another attempted steal there by Lee and Arbin. Kodiaks are matching that defensive pressure that St. Mary's was instilling early after that timeout. But they almost got another steal, but they're charged with a foul. Now here comes Arbin.
Quick update from Medicine Hat. In the gold medal game for the ACAC men's basketball game, the Lethbridge College Kodiaks are currently beating the St. Trojans 17-16 after the first quarter.
Now a nice little deflection there from Amanda Lee, slowing down the Lightning there. Now that lead has built up to 20, and almost another errant pass there by St. Mary's, but they're able to collect it, get it inside. They'll try and reset here as Lineweber gives it off to Gibb. Nothing inside, so Lineweber will take that 3, but she's short right at the end of the shot clock here as that shot goes up.
And
from Gibb.
Coach Brad Karen not happy about that call, jumping out of his seat to let the refs know.
Yeah, it's tough to tell if he's upset about the call or his team giving up a foul or taking a foul right at the end of the shot clock on a very poor shot selection there by the Lightning. And luckily for them, they get 2 free throws right now. But Gibb can't make the first one.
And this is something that can really kill a team when the whole arena is silent and you have those 2 opportunities to make up some points on 2 shots with no one in your face, and you can't make both of them. Can really hurt a team.
Now Ekabuzia and the Kodiaks are trying to make the Lightning pay for not hitting those free throws. West, another deep 3. And again, to no one's surprise, that one goes down for West.
Yeah, she's having a great game so far. 22 points, shooting just under 50% so far. 9 for 20 from the field range.
19 points for West tonight. As a nice little floater there, goes in for the Lightning. Nice little response there. But now here comes Logan Monks. She'll dish it out. Now Lowry for a 3. That one will be a little bit short, and Strabel will try and find an open man after that rebound, but came to nobody. I almost had a play on that one if I dove across this table.
You know, it's a little crazy. It seems like they've been trying to get us at the desk into the game every time we're down here. Can't realize what we're wearing, suits, not jerseys.
They must see something in us.
How?
Maybe we'll get scouted for next year.
Yeah, I guess we're going to have to see if we can try out for the Kodiaks next year.
Might be a few difficult factors in getting on the team.
Yeah, for example, not being good at basketball.
Now down low, Richie going up for 2. That one won't fall. She just couldn't get it to go. And West will pick up on that rebound. Now Lowry, she'll dish it out to Monks right from the free throw line. Floater, and that one will go down. And now here come the Lightning, trying to get back into this game. Shania Baptiste new into the game here for the Lightning. She couldn't handle on to that one, and that one will go out of bounds.
Monk's not shooting quite as much as Emma Lowry and Sunder West. She's only got 10 shots so far. She's hit half of them, 10 points on the night.
Now Shayna Matheson is in for the Kodiak, seeing her first action of the evening. As West will give it to Ekabaz.
All the time in the world.
Oh boy. Now a steal from Sunder West. She can't get it to fall. With a lot of pressure down low. But those three-pointers for Lethbridge, they've been going down. Right now shooting 7 of 18 from downtown. 38%, almost 40%. If you're Brad Karen, you must be happy about that.
Oh, absolutely, and his team is not afraid. It's not like they're taking bad shots either. They're just getting set and making great plays over and over.
And we couldn't see that on our webcast right there, but the ball came under the table. I threw it back in. There's hope for me.
Yep, there's definitely hope, Steve. I'm real glad you stepped up there. Great pass to the ref.
I really appreciate that there, Nick, as Tresovic is down low here for the Lightning. And now Dayton into the game here for St. Mary's.
Oh!
That's blocked by Matheson.
And that is why Matheson is in the lineup. She's got that height. She draws a lot of fouls in the offensive zone. And that's something you don't see every day.
Ball going for a little bit of a ride on top of the backboard there. After that shot from Strabel. And now the Lightning will try and take advantage of the missed shot on the other end. Here's Gibb. She's trying to shake Matheson on the mismatch there, but she can't get it to go. And now a shot clock violation and another turnover there from St. Mary's, and those are starting to bite them as they have now committed 18 turnovers, and that's sure not making head coach Schultz very happy.
Oh no, and he shouldn't be. His team, they're not playing a terrible game. It's just the Kodiaks are hungry for every single ball that's even close to them. And there's not a whole lot that Lightning seem to be able to do. They just don't have the space.
Arbin again going inside with a nice little layup there, and now a little bit of pressure here from the Kodiaks. Trying to seal this one off early here in the third quarter with 2 minutes left to go.
And a quick update from Medicine Hat. The men's Kodiaks are up 23-22 on the St. Trojans. Halfway through the second quarter, it's a nail-biter in Medicine Hat.
And what a block by Lauer. Now she starts the transition game. Little give and go with Ekabazi. And boy, what a play that was.
Yeah, and that's really got everybody in this building fired up. So does this one here. Ekabazi literally crawling after the ball.
Boy, the bench is going to be excited about that one. Ekabazi almost had a steal, and then Strabel diving across the floor to try and save that one.
Almost worried about concussions for the two of them diving after them head first like that.
Yeah, but you can't argue that the effort going on right now for the Kodiaks has been pretty great.
No, and that's something that you got to keep in mind. Last year, they were also had an undefeated season. They could not capitalize when they got to the ACACs, and they were eliminated. And that's probably something that's sticking in the back of their minds right now, is they don't want that to happen again. So they've got maximum effort coming out right now.
St. Mary's here at the end of the shot clock. A nice little dish there by Romero up to the basket, but that one won't fall. Here comes Strabo, and she's fouled. Now, the Kodiaks have came out and executed all night, but for St. Mary's, their shooting percentage hasn't been terrible. And you look up and down their roster right now, Cassandra Baptiste, she's been the leading scorer right now for the Lightning with 12 points. But if you look at the rest of that lineup, all of their stars, they haven't really been that much of an effect.
No, they really haven't. Emily Wagner, she's shooting 3 for 3. We haven't seen a whole lot from her, though, in the second half. And maybe Steve Schultz is looking to get her back on the court and get some points out of her.
Lyle's 3 doesn't go up, and Dayton tried to grab that rebound again, but that one wouldn't work. will stay with the Kodiaks now. And then you look over at the Kodiaks roster, you have West, Lowry, and Monks all in double digits in terms of points, and Emma Lowry being another big effect here for the Kodiaks.
Another one is Shantae Strebel as well. Not in double digits yet. She's only got 6. She's 2 for 4 for field goals, and both of those have been three-pointers, something we don't usually see from her.
And now a foul on the floor for Shantae Strebel, and you just saw how displeased Brad Karen was there for that foul call.
No, Karen is a coach who really expects the best out of his team at all times. So each and every play he wants to see their best, and a mindless foul like that is something he doesn't want to see.
Now Ekabazi almost had another steal there, but that one didn't go in her favor, and now here come the Lightning. Romero still trying to break this full court press. She'll give it off to Ritchie. That too will go. Now we're under a minute to go. 30 seconds left to go here in the third quarter. Big lead. 29 points here for the Kodiaks. Now foul down low. And then Lowry will go to the line for 2.
Lowry, usually one of the best shooters from the line for the Kodiaks. She was a little off last game. Or sorry, she was actually perfect last game, 4 for 4. Matheson, another one who draws a lot of fouls for the Kodiaks. She was the one who had a bit of an off night from the foul line. Maybe she'll be hoping to bring those numbers up for this game.
Lowry now continuing that streak, hitting both of those free throws. And now another foul call on the floor on Ekabazi. Head coach Brad Karen will let this one go and focus his team as there's 11 seconds left to go here in the third quarter. St. Mary's trying to get the last shot here.
Kodiaks with a big lead with 8 seconds left, 69-38.
Baptiste now with a shot. That one won't go down. Now here's Ekabazi trying to get a shot off, but great defensive pressure there from the Lightning as they lock down Ekabazi. She's not able to get a shot off there before the quarter ends. So now, as we look at where we're at after 3 quarters of play, 69-38 is the score. What can you, is this game essentially done, or is St. Mary's able to get back into this?
Well, I'm not going to count St. Mary's out because they are one of the nationally ranked teams, and if you've seen the way they played throughout this tournament so far, they have been playing very, very well with some big wins over some very competitive teams.
Now here is Emma Lowry with that huge block down low. What can you say about her play offensively and defensively as they have the nice little give and go here to finish that off? Ekabazi rewarding Lowry.
Well, we'll start off with the offense for Emma Lowry that she provides. She doesn't have the greatest shooting percentage. She never does, but she has so many great shooting opportunities that she uses that great spin move of hers to get into the paint right underneath the net and get some easy layups.
Very, very agile is Emma Lowry, and as you can see, almost a packed house here in Lethbridge. There has been a lot of great crowds here throughout the weekend, and now we look at a nice three-pointer here from the Kodiaks.
Thunder West with it. She's going to pass that one over to Ekubatsky. All the time in the world for that shot. Puts it up and drops it down. And quick update here from Medicine Hat. The Kodiaks men are losing now 31-28 to the St. Trojans with 4 minutes to go in the first half.